Never read the books up until now. I just recently started book one. Never saw the original movie. I knew nothing about the Percy Jackson world. But now I'm just like, I probably need to restart my Disney Plus subscription. Just wanted to say this really quick before the video starts. For whatever reason, my microphone was not connecting, and I didn't realize that until after the video was said and done. So it's gonna sound pretty echoey because it's only connecting to my phone audio and not the actual mic. So I just wanted to let people know, because I'm not re-recording that video again. So yeah, enjoy the video. And welcome to my Safe Gayven, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining me and clicking on another video here on the BlackGayComicGeek channel. If this is your first time checking out my channel, hey, how's it going? Let me introduce myself. My name is Michael. I call myself the BlackGayComicGeek. And I always say the things that I love to talk about on my channel has blood, sex, gore, and magic, or any variation of the four. So I like to talk all things fantasy, superheroes, horror, sci-fi, and of course I like to talk about black representation and queer representation. So if that's something that you're interested in, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, check out the other videos on my channel. Also, if you could do me a favor and hit the like button, it'll help with the YouTube algorithm, getting this video out there, getting my channel out there so I can continue to grow and make a safe Gayven for all the queer nerds and queer allies out there that love to talk about nerd stuff. But anyway, speaking of talking about nerd stuff, this is a franchise that, like I said in the intro of the video, I'm pretty new to, and I got to actually go to the red carpet premiere, the world premiere of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Actually, I guess technically it was a blue carpet. So the blue carpet world premiere of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. We got to see the first 2 episodes. The show officially comes out tomorrow, December 20th on Disney Plus. I don't know how many episodes drops tomorrow. I don't know if it's just the one or if they're going to drop the first 2 episodes. But anyway, let's talk about Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Based on the best-selling book, 12-year-old modern demigod Percy Jackson is coming to terms with his newfound divine powers when the sky god, Zeus, accuses him of stealing his master lightning bolt. With his friend's help, Percy must restore order to Olympus. And like I said, this show is based off a best-selling book, and the way they're planning on doing it, I think there's going to be at least a total of 5 seasons, because there's a total of 5 Percy Jackson books, and every season is going to do a different book. So this first season is going to be The Lightning Thief. The second season is going to be The Sea of Monsters. The third book is going to be The Titan's Curse. 4th season is going to be The Battle of the Labyrinth. And then the 5th and final season is going to be The Last Olympian. I think that's what it's called. And who knows, I guess depending on how popular it gets, they might branch off and do other stuff, because I know they had like an Apollo, the God of the Sun spinoff series. I know that there's 2 gay characters that are currently in the Percy Jackson series. Nico, the son of Hades, and Apollo's son Will. They currently have a book out right now following the 2 of them and their adventures, which I actually have, called The Sun and the Stars. And I actually got it because I read the synopsis and I saw it was 2 gay characters that are in a relationship, and they had a solo like romance and adventure together. And I was like, ooh, a fantasy book with queer protagonists. But then I realized it's part of the Percy Jackson series and lore. And I was like, okay, I don't want to jump into this. And I've never read any of the Percy Jackson books. So I started reading the Percy Jackson books only to really, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that they're making a show. So I was like, oh, I guess it's timely. And I believe the actual sun god Apollo is pansexual. And interestingly enough, like I said, I went to the world premiere and I went with my friend Vanta, who I've had on here before. And so she bedazzled my jacket to make me look like Apollo, god of the sun. And she actually made her entire jacket, which follow Vanta if you're into like DIY stuff like that, because she's amazing. She made her entire dress and she fashioned it after Apollo's twin sister, goddess of the moon, Artemis. Like, check out this dress. Like I said, she made the entire dress from scratch and bedazzled it. Like with my jacket, I bought the jacket and she just bedazzled it, but she made the dress. And she actually released a video on TikTok showing her process of how she made the dress, what inspired her, and all that other stuff. So again, follow Vanta. Anyway, to talk about Percy Jackson and the Olympians, first 2 episodes. I am not fully done with the first books, but I do know that one of people's biggest problems with these 2 movies that came out is they weren't really all that faithful to the books. And so getting into this, and Rick Riordan and his wife Betty Riordan did give a speech at the beginning of the world premiere, and he said his biggest thing was to make sure that they got this series right, and he was very hands-on with the casting and all the major decisions with regards to this world. And suffice to say, granted, like I said, I'm not fully versed in the Percy Jackson lore. I'm not even fully done with the books, but where I was by the time the second episode ended is pretty much where I was in the book. So I can at least comment on the first 2 episodes in terms of the faithful adaptation for the books. And I am happy to say that I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes of Percy Jackson, and it was pretty faithful to what happens in the books. So if you are a fan of the books and want a faithful adaptation, I can at least report based on the first 2 episodes that they were pretty faithful. And these first 2 episodes really do a great job of really getting you into this world, catching you up and giving you the lore and everything with the Greek mythology, who Percy Jackson is, who these other characters are, and what the basic plot of this show is going to be, or at least this particular season is going to be. Now, I will say though, with all of that, based on how I read it in the book and what they did in the show, I feel like the show, especially the first episode, really did a lot of exposition dump on you to kind of speed it up, because this first season is only going to be 8 episodes. And so, because obviously, a book is way longer than a TV series and things like that. So they really dumped a lot of things that you found out slowly as it progressed, as the story progressed in the books. But in this first episode, it was just like boom, 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 boom. And I was like, oh wow, they're kind of moving pretty fast. So when I say a faithful adaptation, it's not like beat for beat for the books. Almost kind of like how The Last of Us is almost like a beat for beat recreation of the video game. But obviously, if you haven't seen the video game, then you don't know that. But this is not a beat for beat adaptation of the book, but it's still pretty faithful in terms of the overall premise, the first 2 episodes of what happens in the book. I will say the first 2 episodes are basically the first 8 chapters of the book, for those of you that are book fans. And obviously for those of you that haven't read the book, don't know the book, that's not really giving anything away. Now also I will say, despite enjoying it, the CGI could definitely use a little bit more touch up, because there's a giant fight in the first episode. And of course, you could definitely tell, and a lot of movies and shows do this, where they'll put it in the dead of night to hide some of the bad CGI. And then also the lighting would be a little bit bad, so it's kind of dark, so you can't really make out a lot of what's going on. So that's something I didn't like. And then there's also a character, Chiron, who, and I get this is how he looks in the books and things like that, but his character is a centaur. And his top half, obviously, if you think about a centaur, their top half, they're human. Their bottom half, they're a horse. And so the character, he's wearing a full suit in his top half, but then the bottom half, he has his horse-looking outfit. So it's you see a man in a suit, and it's then it's cut off, and then you see the horse. And the way it looks very jarring with him in the suit, and it looks weird. And like I said, obviously that's how the character is in the books. He is wearing the suit and his top half, but it just looks weird. It looks weird. So it kind of throws me off and turns me off a little bit in terms of the look of it. But other than that, like I said, I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes, and I'm almost done. I'm a little past the halfway point in the book, but I can't wait to get more of this world. I can't wait to get more of Percy Jackson, especially in the book. Percy Jackson, he wants all the smoke. This kid is not scared of anything. And I love it, and how protective he is, and how gully this character is. You think about somebody another YA popular book, Harry Potter, nah, Percy is way different than Harry Potter, and I love that. He's not as, and I don't think this is the right word, but this is the only word I can really think of. He's not as timid as Harry Potter. There's whole moments where he's he meets other gods, and he's I don't care who you are. There's moments where he's I want to punch this guy in the face, and they're just Percy, you can't do that. That's a god. And I love that. I love that this kid has no fear. But with that said, I can say that for book fans, at least these first 2 episodes, I think people would be pleasantly surprised about this show, especially considering the reaction from the first two movies. So fingers crossed for the rest of the series, because like I said, I can only report on the first two episodes. But I'm excited about these first two episodes. I'm here for these first two episodes. I can't wait to see how the rest of the season plays out. And I really enjoy these characters and the trio of Percy, Annabeth, and Grover. And the more I learn about Rick Riordan, the more of a fan I'm becoming of the character, because one of the main characters of this show, Annabeth, who's the daughter of Athena, she's played by Leah Jeffries, a little black kid. And in the book and in the movie, Annabeth was a blonde-haired white girl. And like I mentioned before, Rick Riordan was heavily involved in the casting. And you know, when it comes to these sci-fi fantasy shows, especially when you cast a character that was originally white and you cast them as a black character or a person of color, or even if the character was originally black in the source material, like Rue from the Hunger Games, people still get upset when you see black and brown people. People still get upset when you see black and brown people cast in fantasy series. And a lot of times these studios and executives, they don't really do anything to prepare or speak out against or side or, you know, do anything against the racist, sometimes homophobic backlash that these actors ended up going through. Like I think of the silence for the most part of Disney when it came to John Boyega and Kelly Marie Tran. But like, one of the things that I really love is Rick Riordan said to Leah Jeffries, look, I just want to let you know, no matter what they say about you once this show comes out, because obviously he knew that backlash was going to come. And thankfully, for the most part, I haven't really seen any of it. So hopefully, obviously, I know society hasn't evolved, but hopefully, being that she's a child, she's not going to get a lot of that. But regardless, she says, no matter what they say about you, just remember that I picked you. And so I love that. I love that. And just like, again, the more things I learn about Rick Riordan is how, like, he wanted to expand his Percy Jackson world. Like, for example, he has the queer story with Nico and Will, but he's like, even though this is my world, obviously, I'm not a queer man. I don't feel like I should be the one to write this story. Maybe I'll be involved to dictate like how I want things to go. But let me get a queer author to write this story, or like his story about the Egyptian gods and things like that. There are certain stories that he's just like, I should, even though this is my world, I'm the one that created it, I shouldn't be the one to write these stories. And you know, applause to him for that, because not a lot of people would take that step. It's just like, no, this is my world. I'm the one. I should be writing all the stories and things like that. But I at least appreciate that he's still heavily involved, or at least using his platform and his name to tell other stories. Like I believe there was a book that I received from that has Rick Riordan's name on it, but it's about presenting different and diverse stories. Like Rick Riordan presents Serwa Bolting, Guide to Vampire Hunting. And it's basically about a bunch of middle school kids led by this black girl who are hunting vampires, but it's based in African Ghanaian lore, written by Roseanne A. Brown. So again, it just goes to show, like, the more I learn about him, the more of a fan I'm becoming. But anyway, with that said, once you see the first two episodes, let me know if you're a fan of the Percy Jackson and the Olympians show. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section below. Have you read the books? Have you seen the first two movies? Let me know all of your thoughts. How does the show compare to the movies? All of that stuff. Hopefully you made it to the end of this video for the watch time. Watch, like, share, comment, interact on this video for the all gay rhythm. Now, if this is your first time checking out one of my videos, please check out the other videos on my channel. If you like what you see, please subscribe for more and hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.